Running a little late here today. Let's see, what time is it? 2:33. Had to wait for my kids to get out of the house. Hi. Hope you guys weren't waiting too long. See Soraya. Hi, Soraya. 2:33. My kids are still here. Can you hear them? My husband's trying to get them out of the house. Hi guys. Okay, we're going to talk about courage today. Happy Father's Day to anyone who's celebrating it. If you have a daddy at home, I hope you're giving him lots of hugs and kisses and cuddles. And loving on him good today. Okay, so I think we'll get started just because I'm running a little bit late here. And I think, sounds like my kids are out. I'm not quite sure. Okay. Hi, Sylvia. Hi, guys. Okay, so we're going to get started with We Are Drops, okay? So you know how this goes. It's a call and response. So I'll sing first, and then you copy me, okay? You ready? Here we go. We are drops of one ocean, of one ocean. We are waves of one sea. Come and join us in our quest for unity. It's a way of life for you and me. We are flowers of one garden, of one garden. We are leaves of one tree, of one tree. Come and join us in our quest for unity. It's a way of life for you and me. All the world is one country. Man is one. Can't you see? Come and join us in our quest for unity. It's a way of life for you and me. Okay, let's sing Oh God, Guide Me. So to do that, we put our fingers up in the air like this to start. And we go, Oh God, guide me. Protect me, make of me a shining lamp and a brilliant star. Thou art the mighty and the powerful. Let's do it again. Oh God, guide me, protect me, make of me a shining lamp and a brilliant star. Thou art the mighty and the powerful. Okay. I'm ready for my kids to bust in the door, but I think that they've left with my husband. Oh, I hear something downstairs. I don't know. Okay, here we go. We're going to do So Powerful. So you get your muscles ready. Let me see your muscles. Let me see those muscles. How are your muscles looking today? Are they looking good? Okay, here we go. So powerful, so powerful is the light of unity. So powerful is the light of unity, that it can illuminate the whole earth, that it can illuminate the whole earth, the whole earth. Let's do it again. So powerful is the light of unity. So powerful is the light of unity, that it can illuminate the whole earth, that it can illuminate the whole earth, the whole earth. How did it go? Were you able to follow? Yeah? Okay, we're gonna do In the Garden of Thy Heart. And I don't know if we've done that on here. I think we did it for the love, when we talked about love a number of weeks ago. But that one goes like this. In the garden of thy heart, plant not but the rose of love. In the garden of thy heart, plant not but the rose of love. In the garden of thy heart, in the garden of thy heart, in the garden of thy heart, plant not but the rose of love. You want to try it with me? In the garden of thy heart, plant not but the rose of love. In the garden of thy heart, plant not but the rose of love. In the garden of thy heart, in the garden of thy heart, in the garden of thy heart, plant not but the rose of love. That's all of our prayers for this morning, or this afternoon, I should say. It's not the morning. It is the afternoon, and we're going to be talking about courage today. Do you know what courage means? Courage is doing something that we find difficult or scary. When you have courage, you're getting through that fear to do something. And we're going to read a number of books today. We're going to read 2 books. The first one's called Abracadabra. It's about a little owl who's a little bit afraid of learning how to fly. And then we're going to read this book, Dragon Soup. You see it? And I kind of am in a dragon theme here. We're not going to read this book, but my kids right now are reading it. It's called The Dragons of Rizvania. Have any of you guys read this before, or had your parents read it to you? This one is about a prince who has to go and conquer these dragons of emotion. And so that's kind of what made me think about this when we were talking about courage today. So why don't we read Abracadabra, The Magic of Trying, then we're going to read Dragon Soup, and we're only going to read 2 books today because this book, Dragon Soup, it's kind of a long book. It has a lot of words, as you can see. So I don't think we can do 3 today because I don't want to make you sit through it. And then at the end, that's when we'll discuss our quote. We have a long quote today. But I thought it might be nice to discuss it at the end because it talks about the treasuries of the knowledge of God. And when I think of treasuries, it makes me think about this book with the dragons because they have a lair that's full of treasure. So we'll talk about the quote at the end. So let's start with Abracadabra, the Magic of Trying. And I'm going to move over here so that you guys can see the book. But before we do that, why don't we talk about some of the things that we might be afraid of? I am sometimes afraid of coming on here. I get a little nervous because I'm like, I don't know who's going to be there, and I don't know if they're going to want to watch me, and I don't know if I'll say something silly. My kids sometimes have a fear of trying new foods. They find that kind of scary, and they don't want to do it, so it takes a lot of courage to try something new that they've never had before. What do you do? What examples do you have that you need to use courage for? You can have your grown-ups comment below if you want. Other things that take courage, maybe making new friends. Sometimes it can be kind of scary and take some courage to walk up to someone you don't know. It takes courage working on schoolwork that you've never had to do before, or things that you might find really hard. Sometimes it takes a lot of courage to make mistakes. If we do something wrong, we're afraid we're going to do something wrong, or afraid we're going to mess up. Afraid of the dark. Oh yeah, I'm kind of afraid of the dark too. Or afraid of a dark room and you have to walk across the room to turn on the light switch. That can take a lot of courage, right? Yeah, I think so too. One other thing is being a Bahá'í sometimes takes courage because sometimes we're the only Bahá'ís in our family, or we're the only Bahá'ís in our whole entire school, or we're the only Bahá'ís, our family might be the only Bahá'ís in our town. And so being a Bahá'í can sometimes take courage too, because you're different because you're a Bahá'í, right? But being a Bahá'í is like one of the best things ever, because as we're going to learn, the Bahá'í writings have all kinds of wisdom that can help eliminate that fear and give you courage. Okay, so here we go. Abracadabra, the magic of trying. So this is an owl. Today was an important day. Can you see? At the little bird school. Today was the day they all learned how to fly. They jumped off the branch, opened their wings, and flew. The first was Blackbird. He launched himself into the air and yelled, "Hooray, how fun!" Next came Robin. "Yippee, how fun!" Then it was up to Sparrow. "Yay, how fun!" And then Canary, Swallow, and Hummingbird. It looks like they're all just leaping right off the branch. But I don't know about Owl here. The owl's looking a little bit nervous, huh? Only little Owl was left on the branch. With his wings closed, little Owl was too afraid of falling. "Come on, fly with us," encouraged their teacher, Mrs. Pigeon. But little Owl whined, "I can't." "But if you don't try, you'll never do it." I don't want to. Little Owl's afraid. Out for a walk, Turtle, passed under the tree and saw Little Owl perched on the branch looking sad. "Hello, Little Owl. Why are you still here instead of flying with the other little birds?" "Because I'm too afraid of falling." "Nonsense," said the turtle. "With a little practice, you can do it." But Little Owl shook his head. No, I will never be able to do it." So Turtle thought, I know a foolproof way, she said finally. "Try saying abracadabra." "Why?" "Because when you spread your wings and say it, you'll be able to fly without falling." "Really?" "For sure." Little Owl opened his wings. "Abracadabra," he said, and jumped. And crash! He fell down. "Ouch, ouch," cried Little Owl. "You see, your word doesn't work." "Wait," responded Turtle. "Make sure to say abracadabra. Go on, try it." Because before he said abacadabra instead of abracadabra. Let's see what happens. Just then, Mouse. Saying I have a poor connection. Let me. Okay, are we good? You guys can see me? Okay, just then Mouse, who had been listening, came along. "What's going on?" he asked. "Little Owl is afraid of flying," explained Turtle. "Nonsense," said Mouse. "Did you tell him to say abracadabra? That might help." Little Owl shook his head. "It doesn't work. I just said it and I still fell." "Try again," insisted Turtle. Little Owl went back up the tree and tried again. He closed his eyes and said, "Abracadabra." He flew a little bit more, here and there, and then crash! "Ouch, ouch! But this time I said it right." "Yes, but you had your eyes closed," Mouse told him. "Try again and keep your eyes open. Imagine yourself flying. Believe you can do it." Little Owl went back up the tree, opened his eyes as big as he could, and flapped his wings. "Abracadabra," he said. He went up high, a little more, still a little more, but then crash! Meanwhile, Hedgehog had arrived. "What's going on?" he asked. "Little Owl cannot fly," Mouse and Turtle told him. "Oh, just say abracadabra and you will fly for sure," said Hedgehog. "I have tried that so many times, and still look, every time I fall." "But maybe you said it too softly. Try to say it with all the breath that you have in your chest and concentrate," insisted Hedgehog. Little Owl went back up the branch. He concentrated. He opened his eyes, flapped his wings, took a big breath. "Abracadabra!" he yelled, with all the breath he had in his chest. This time, Little Owl took flight. He flew and flew. "Hooray! This is wonderful!" His friends cheered. "Good work! Now go where the wind takes you." The wind took him over the pond, where there was a school of little frogs. Today was a very important day for the frogs. For the first time, they had to leave the pond, making a big jump up to the shore. The first frog tried, and hop! The second frog tried, and hop! The third frog, and the fourth, and the fifth, hop, hop, hop. Finally, almost all the frogs had made it to the shore. Only one remained in the pond. Little Frog was sad. She didn't want to make the big jump. Do you think she's afraid to make the big jump? Just like Owl was afraid to try? "Hey, Little Frog, why don't you go with your friends?" called Little Owl from above. "Because I don't know how to jump. I'm too afraid of hurting myself." "Nonsense," said Little Owl. "Try saying abracadabra. Say it and you can make the biggest jump. But I'll warn you, it doesn't work right away. You need to try, and try again without getting discouraged like I did." "Really?" asked Little Frog. "For sure." Oh, plop, 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 blue. How many times did she have to try before she could get out of the pond? Let's count. Her first try, nope. Second try, she made it into a branch. Third try, she landed on a lily pad. Fourth try, she landed in a lily, a water lily. And the fifth try, she got all the way out. She had to keep trying. She didn't give up. And that's the end of that. So Little Owl was so afraid to try to learn how to fly. And the first couple times when Little Owl tried to fly, did Little Owl succeed? No. But each time Little Owl tried, he got better and better until he was completely able to fly, right? Okay, this one's called Dragon Soup. I've had this book for a while now, and I don't remember how long ago I got it, but it's a good book. And it's about a little, she's not that little, it's about a girl who has a couple siblings. She lives here. Can you see how beautiful that is? Look. It looks like maybe these are rice paddies where the water collects and they grow rice. And there are all these steps in the stones. Far away. I'm gonna keep it on this page so you can take a look while I read, okay? Far away, in a land of jungles and mountains and mist, there once lived a beautiful girl named Tanlu. Every day she worked in her father's fields of rice and beans, which were cut deeply into a steep mountainside like a set of giant steps. Tanlu's father called them dragon steps, for at the top of their mountain, in a cave filled with splendid treasures, lived the cloud dragons. One evening, can you see Tanlu? Here's Tanlu right here, and her little brother, and that's probably her other brothers and sisters. One evening, Tanlu and her brothers and sisters sat at the edge of a terrace, eating their supper and watching the people of the village far below move about like tiny ants. How I'd hate to live in the village, Tanlu said as she ate her soup. But there would be so much more to do in the village than here, argued Zan, her younger brother. Yes, but here you can look down the valley and over the low hills almost as far as the sea, Tanlu explained. Down in the village, people see only the shadow of the mountains. I could never live there. I need to see far, very, very far. Zan was about to argue back when he spotted a figure scurrying up the steep path towards their home. It's the merchant, he said anxiously. Why is he coming here? Tanlu stared at the tall, grim man. She answered slowly. Father owes him money. That's why he has come. And here he is over here. You see this man coming up these long steps with a lantern? It's the merchant. He's coming to collect money from their daddy. I love the illustrations in this book. So here she is lying in bed, and here are her brother and her sister. Her mom over here is crying, and here's her daddy sitting on the bed, thinking that she's asleep. And this is a window looking out over the beautiful valley, and there goes the merchant. So let's see what the merchant said to her father, okay? The merchant was greeted solemnly by Tanlu's father, and the two men went inside the small house that was the family's home. On the terrace, the children waited, wondering what the visitor was saying to their father. It wasn't long before the merchant left, and Tanlu's mother called the children in to sleep. Nothing was said about the merchant, but Tanlu could see the worry in her father's face, and when he kissed her good night, there were tears in his eyes. He's sad. He's upset. Let's see why. Later that night, Zan, her younger brother, shook Tanlu awake. Come outside, he whispered as he pointed to the door. Tanlu rose from her bed and followed Zan out to the edge of the terrace. What's wrong? She asked. I heard Mother and Father talking, Zan explained. Father doesn't have the money to pay the merchant, and he has only 2 weeks to find enough. If he can't, he must give the farm to the merchant, or, Zan paused a moment, looking gravely at his sister, or he must let the merchant claim you for his bride. Ugh, I couldn't marry him, Tanlu cried out, and I couldn't live down there in the village. I know, Zan sighed, but then we'll lose the farm. No, we won't, Tanlu said firmly. I will pay the merchant. Zan looked at her, bewildered. Then he realized his sister's plan, for she was staring through the darkness toward the top of the mountain. No! It would be better to marry the merchant than to meet the cloud dragons. Why is she looking up at the cloud dragon's home? Is she going to go up there to see if they have any jewels that she can take? Hi! Okay. Not for me, Tanlu said fiercely. Wow, she's so brave, isn't she? I would rather die than marry the merchant or have Father lose this farm. I will steal the dragon's treasure and pay Father's debt. Before her brother could stop her, Tanlu ran up the mountain path. Tell Father I'll be back, she called to Zan from a bend in the trail. Tell him not to worry. Then Tanlu turned to face the steep path before her. At least I will be able to see what lies beyond the mountain, she said bravely. I will see very, very far. Now look at this illustration, okay? So she's running, she's going to go find some treasure to pay off the merchant so that her father doesn't lose his farm and she also doesn't get married off. But do you think this is trying to show that it's a little scary out there in the dark? You see these eyes in the dark? Do you think those are really there, or do you think she's imagining it? What do you think? It looks scary, right? But she's so brave, she's going to climb all the way up to find the cloud dragons. It was many hours later when Tanlu crept through the cold, dark mist of the mountain. Here she is. And here are the dragons sleeping. And what's all around them? There are pearls and jewels. Okay, let's see. It was many hours later when Tanlu crept through the cold, dark mist of the mountain towards the mouth of the cave. Inside, she could see 2 huge dragons sitting before a crackling fire. Do you see them? 1, 2. One is red and one is green. One dragon was bright red with long, scaly wings. The other dragon had no wings but wore ropes of giant pearls around his blue-green neck. Tanlu stared. Hold on, I'm trying to make it so you can see it. Sorry, guys. The light is reflecting on the pages. Tanlu stared at the pearls. In the village, they would bring a fortune. I only need 1, she told herself, just 1. She curled up behind a boulder and waited. At last, the dragons fell asleep. Here she is, curled up. Tanlu listened to their dreadful snores. Then she crept toward the blue-green dragon, stopping as he groaned and twitched in a fitful dream. She reached for the pearls. I'm trying to get the picture right. Okay. She reached for the pearls. In the firelight, they gleamed a rich and rosy gold. She took a breath and very carefully gnawed on the thick string that held the pearls together. Finally, the string broke. Tanlu slipped off a pearl. It felt as smooth as silk. Then all at once, the dragon moved in his sleep. One end of the string pulled from Tanlu's hand. Suddenly, pearls were flying all around her, and the dragon was awake. Grabbing a pearl, Tanlu turned to run, but the dragon reached out with his sharp claws and blocked her way. "Crawl!" he called out in a voice that cracked and screeched. "Look, dragon soup for lunch!" Crawl opened one eye and stretched. "I thought I smelled something in the air last night," he said with a voice that was husky and deep. "Time to get the fire hot, Breen." This is Crawl, and this is Breen. Breen rhymes with green. That's how we'll remember. Breen took his captive and put her in a cage near the wall of the cave. There she is. You see her? Where is she? I guess we're seeing her view. Her view is looking at Breen here in the cage. And here's Crawl over here with his dragon soup. Breen took his captive and put her in a cage near the wall of the cave. "So you like stealing pearls?" he hissed. Tanlu stared at the large iron pot Crawl had placed over the fire. "I only wanted 1, she whispered. "Only 1?" Breen cackled. "You thought I might not miss it." Then Breen placed a second pot of water over the fire. Soon the dragons were carefully adding herbs and spices from huge earthen jars to their own boiling brews. Tanlu watched the dragons work with wide and fearful eyes. She wished she had never come to the dragon's cave. Finally, Breen came toward her. Tanlu felt the heat of his fiery breath. "Soup's almost done. Are you ready to choose?" Tanlu stared at the dragon. "Choose? What do you mean?" Breen snorted at the red dragon. "My brother and I can't agree on whose soup is better." Can you see the picture okay? His is much too spicy, but he complains mine is too sweet. So we've been waiting for a visitor to wander up the mountain to decide for us. Crawl rolled his fearsome eyes and commanded, "Choose which soup is better. Then we'll set you free." "Free?" asked Tanlu. "And you won't put me in your soup?" Oh, heavens no, shuddered Crawl. "That would spoil it, I'm sure." Then he added with a gruesome wink, "Of course, if I lose, I might be tempted to try a new ingredient." "That's not fair, you're cheating," screamed Breen as he spat at Crawl. Then the blue-green dragon leaned toward the cage. Tiny puffs of smoke swirled around Tanlu. "If you choose my soup, you can keep the pearl." "No, choose my soup and I will fly you around the world on my back," thundered the red dragon. "How would you like that?" They want her to decide which soup is better, right? Is it Breen's or Crawl soup? So Crawl soup, which one? Which one is too sweet? Breen soup. Breen started the red dragon. My brother can't agree. So crawl soup is too sweet. No. Spicy. Too spicy, too sweet. So the red one is spicy. The green one is sweet. Let's see. Here she is. She's sitting here with those two large bowls of soup. Do you see them in the background? Here's Breen in the background with his pearls. Here's Crawl in the background with his arms folded, waiting for her to try them, right? Let's see. How is she going to choose? The two dragons fell silent, waiting for a reply from Tanlu. She looked fearfully at both dragons, not knowing what to say. Finally, she summoned up her courage. That's what we're talking about today, right? Courage, because it's scary. I would love to have the pearl, honorable blue-green dragon, she said nervously. And I would love to fly on your back, honorable red dragon, she added quickly. However, shouldn't I taste the soup before I decide? Breen shook his head in agreement. Why, of course, what a clever girl. We must do it right. So when the soup was done, Breen unlocked the cage, and Tanlu sat down before the fire with two huge bowls in front of her. She trembled as she reached for the first giant spoon and sipped from it. Why do you think she's trembling? Do you think she's afraid? Then, still trembling, she sipped from the second spoon. I'm not sure, she said after a long silence. They're both very good. But mine is better, Breen insisted. Crawl's is so spicy. Try mine again. No! Try mine, Crawl roared. Breen's is horribly sweet. Tanlu held up her hand to quiet them. Please, let me think. How's she going to get out of this? Then Tanlu paced up and down the cave, looking for a solution to her problem. I'm not out of the soup yet, she mumbled as she walked back and forth. If I choose Breen's soup, Crawl will lose and be very angry enough to put me in his soup. Yet, if I choose Crawl's soup, Breen will never let me keep the pearl. And if I don't have the pearl, Tanlu's thoughts drifted back to the village and the merchant. No, she told herself firmly. There must be a way for all of us to win. With that, she had an idea. She grabbed a large cup from a shelf at the back of the cave and pulled it toward the fire. Then, standing before the bowls of soup, she bowed her head to the blue-green dragon and began, Honorable Breen, your soup is incredibly delicious. It has such a delicate and sweet flavor. Tanlu turned to the red dragon and bowed her head. Honorable Crawl, your soup is absolutely wonderful. It contains the most interesting spices. However, she paused a moment, then continued slowly, which would you prefer, that I choose between the two soups, or that you learn to make one even better? So you're bowing to the dragons. She's going to teach them how to make it better. Let's see. Breen shook his head. There couldn't be a soup sweeter than mine. Crawl flapped his wings. Nor spicier than mine. Perhaps not, said Tanlu carefully. But I can tell you a way to make the best soup in the kingdom of the cloud dragons. Do you want to know how? Both dragons nodded their heads eagerly. Tanlu smiled. All at once, she dipped a spoon into Crawl's bowl of soup and poured it into the cup. Then she added a spoonful of Breen's soup and stirred the two together. She took a sip and announced triumphantly, mixed together, they make the most delightful soup I have ever tasted. Both dragons stared at her, not knowing what to say. Finally, Breen cleared his throat. But nobody won, he grumbled. Tanlu smiled her most radiant smile. On the contrary, both of you won. Now you have a soup you can enjoy together. Together? Roared Crawl. Taste it yourself, Tanlu said as she pointed to the cup. What a clever girl, huh? And brave and courageous. Breen took a sip. Why, yes, I like it, he declared. It's sweet and spicy at the same time. Then he frowned and added quickly, but not too spicy. Crawl took a sip. He winked at Breen. And it's not too sweet, he rumbled. Then he took Breen's pot of soup, mixed it with his own, and poured himself a huge bowl. How can we ever thank you? Breen said gratefully as he watched his brother gulp down the soup. Set me free, replied Tanlu, and let me keep your pearl. Certainly, said the dragon. The dragon bowed. Is that all? Tanlu turned to Crawl. I have always wanted to see far beyond the mountain. Perhaps you will still be willing to give me a ride on your back? Clever girl, the dragon thundered as he licked his spoon happily. I would be honored. Wow, look at that beautiful landscape. Without a moment's hesitation, Tanlu gathered up her pearl and climbed on the red dragon's back. They took off into the sky, rising above the mist that clung to the mountaintops. Where's he going to take her? Here she is on his back, you see? She's so little compared to him. And what's in her hand? The pearl, right? Let's see where he takes her. All at once. You see her? All at once, Tanlu could see the sun sparkling on the sea as Kral made a big circle and headed around the mountain. On the other side was a broad, flat plain with rivers and jungles and towns. Can you see beyond the mountain now? Kral roared above the wind. Yes, Tanlu shouted. She felt the pearl soft as velvet and thought of the freedom it would bring her and her father. Gazing toward the edge of the horizon, she answered happily, yes, I can see very, very far. Here she is with her pearl in her arms, riding on the back of Kral, out to see the sea. I bet she had never seen that ever before in her life. So in this book, Dragon Soup, we learned about Tanlu, who was so courageous and so clever. And she was doing something that was really hard and scary to do because it was the right thing to do, and also because she needed to save her family and herself, right? And before that, we read about Abracadabra, who was afraid to try something new, but he tried it over and over again until he was able to fly. And now we're going to talk about our quotation here today. So the quotation is a very long one. The short one goes, whatever decreaseth fear, increaseth courage. And that's by Baha'u'llah, but it has a part that goes up to it before that. And it says, in the treasuries of the knowledge of God, there lieth concealed a knowledge which, when applied, will largely, though not wholly, eliminate fear. This knowledge, however, should be taught from childhood, as it will greatly aid in its elimination. Whatever decreaseth fear, increaseth courage. So we're going to break this apart a little bit so we can talk about it real quick, okay? In the treasuries of the knowledge of God, there lieth concealed a knowledge. So treasuries, this word treasuries, it's kind of like, I like to think of treasuries kind of like the dragon's lair, right? The dragon had a treasury. A treasury is a place where you keep all of the finest jewels and gems. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. And this is kind of what made me think of this book, because this is the dragon's treasury. It's a place where they keep all of their most precious belongings. Okay? So in the treasuries of the knowledge of God, lieth concealed a knowledge. Concealed means hidden. So if I have a gem in my hands and I'm concealing it, that means I'm hiding it. So in the treasuries of the knowledge of God, there lieth concealed a knowledge which, when applied, will largely, though not wholly, eliminate fear. Eliminate means to get rid of fear. This knowledge, however, should be taught from childhood, as it will greatly aid in its elimination, the elimination of the fear. Whatever decreaseth fear, decreaseth means to make smaller. Whatever makes fear smaller, will increase courage. So if you are less afraid, your courage gets bigger, right? And I like to think of when I was a teenager and a youth, I think what I learned that has helped me in life is that we have so many beautiful writings and guidance from Baha'u'llah, Shoghi Effendi, Abdul Baha, the Universal House of Justice. And within all that guidance are gems of knowledge that, when applied, make fear go away. So when things seem really, really scary, I always find turning to the words of God it's the only thing that will help eliminate fear. So, we're gonna make some dragons. If you haven't already, your parents may have already made you some paper dragons here that we're gonna decorate. If they haven't, I'm just gonna quickly show you how to do that. On my Instagram profile, there is a link to print out a template, which you can use, or you can freehand it like I did. So here, I'm gonna show you. And obviously this is upside down for you, I know, I'm sorry. Let's see. So first, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a piece of paper, or you can use a paper plate, or you can use, this is cardstock, you can use printer paper, anything you have, anything you want. I'm gonna fold it in half because that's gonna make the dragon wings, okay? And I'm just going to use a Sharpie. You can use a pencil, you can use a marker, whatever you have. And I'm just going to make a dragon body here. I'm going to make a wing, go like this, and the rest of the dragon's body, okay? You see that? Okay, and then I'm going to make a tail that looks kind of like this. But you can make the tail any shape you want, and then a dragon head. I'm doing this upside down. Let's see if I can. I'm going to make the dragon head, give it some of these little, I don't know, spikes or ears or something, and then the neck, okay? So you can cut that out, just real fast. This doesn't take a whole lot of time, hopefully. And I was thinking we could each make 2 dragons, like Breen and Crawl. And you can either make them green and red, like in the book, or you can change it up and make them any color you want, or you can give them designs and patterns. I'm going to use oil pastels, but you can use crayons, you can use markers, you can use whatever you want. If you're doing 2 dragons, if you want to save time, because this is folded over, you can literally cut both of these out and just do the wings again, and then you don't have to do the head and the tail again, if you want. I'm just quickly showing you guys how to do this. So here's the tail. And I have 2 here, you see, because it was folded over. And then here's the head. 2 heads, actually. All right. All right. And then just very simply, you want to put the head on the other side, the straight side of the wings, because you want your dragon's wings to fly in one direction. Because I have drawing on this side, I like to fold this under so I can't see it as easily, but it doesn't really matter because you're going to see the top and bottom of the wings anyway. We're going to staple on you can glue it, you can staple it, you can tape it, use whatever you have. I'm going to cut this a little bit so that he's not so, we're going to staple it right on here like this. Okay. And then you can staple the body if you want. You don't have to. And then we're going to staple on this tail on the very back. You see? Staple on the tail. Now, don't feel like you have to be moving as fast as I am. I'm just doing it quickly so that we can get on to the next part. I know some of the kids already have their dragons made for them. But take your time. I'm going to have this video posted afterwards if you want to come back to it. And it's also going to be on Instagram TV, IGTV, so you can look at it there. So then we're going to fold down the wings like this. Okay. And our dragon's ready to be decorated. See? Okay, so I have these ones. You can also, if you don't have very much paper, you can use a half piece of paper to do the same thing. I made 2 little baby dragons that I was going to have my kids decorate, but I didn't get around to it. These are made from 1 piece of 8.5 by 11 paper instead of 2. But I'm going to be working on some of these bigger dragons because they'll be easier for you to see while I'm working on them. Let me clean this up. If you want to get your materials, you can come make some dragons with me. And as always, I would love to show all the other kids what you guys are working on because it's fun to see what everybody makes. Okay, so I'm going to be using, these are just oil pastels. You can use crayons, you can use markers, you can use anything that you want. And then I have, this is just watercolor, and you know what, I totally forgot to get water. So, oh look, I have a glass of water that I was drinking from before, so I'll use that today. And then I also have these little sticky gem jewels. Parents, these are like the best things to have in your house. We use them all the time. They don't require glue. They're like, I think like $9 for a couple hundred of them on Amazon. I have it linked on my Linktree profile, so if you want to check those out. My kids use them for everything to add a little bit of bling. And because they're sticky, you can stick them on anything, which is nice. Really good for little kids too, because you don't have to worry about the glue. Okay, so let's get started on some dragon decoration. You can start on the top, you can start on the sides. I'm gonna pull up our book so we can have a little bit of inspiration. Now these dragons have some pretty cool features. see a good image of them. Well, one of the dragons has pearls around his neck. The other dragon has wings. But look at his ears. That's kind of cool. They have like this detailing on his ears, and he also has spikes down his back. So we could add spikes if we wanted to. Or we could put gems around one of their necks. I'm going to paint mine. One is going to be red and one I'm going to paint green. But before I do that, I'm going to use some of these oil pastels because it'll make a resist. Because it's oil and water react to each other. They won't go on top of each other. So I'm going to do some designs first. And I guess I'll start with Crawl. Crawl is the green one and Breen is the red one. But again, you can decorate it however you want. My son has been decorating these for a few weeks now. I don't have any with me right now, but he has just maybe decorated like 7 different colors of dragons. He's so into it. So if you want to make more than 2, feel free to make as many as you want. So let's see. I'm gonna make Crawl's belly. I'm gonna make Crawl's belly yellow. So I'm gonna kind of just go like this, make this part yellow. Parents, if your kids want to decorate them before you staple it all together too, it might be easier, but I know you guys can figure it out. Whatever works best. The staples sometimes get in the way a little bit. So I'm going to give Crawl a yellow belly. I'm going to give him a belly on this side too. And then, let's see what else. What do you think about that? Maybe I'll give him some ribbing on his belly. Give him some lines. Maybe some red lines. I'm Crawl. I like things spicy. Right? Crawl was the one who liked the spicy soup. Okay. Then, now the opposite of red on the color wheel is actually purple. So I'm going to do some, is it purple? No, it's not purple. What am I talking about? The opposite of red is green. So I'm going to give him some green details. Nah, change my mind. I'm going to give him some yellow details. Give him some, so this will be like his wings. Right? And then color that in a little bit. And then what do you know? What should we do? Should we do like some white detailing? So wherever I do white with this, it's gonna come out, it's gonna stay white when I paint over it. So I'm gonna do 3 white circles. And then maybe I'll give them some patterns. Do 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 do. What next? Okay. You know what I forgot? I wanted to bring some googly eyes for their eyeballs, and I totally forgot to grab that, but that's okay. So now, underneath his wings, I'm gonna give him, I don't know, should we go silver? Why not? And I guess what I'll do is I'll go something like this. And on this side. Wow, how did I do that? I forget. Yep. Okay. All right, now it doesn't look like very much because can you see? You can barely see the white, but we're gonna change that in a second. And here's some silver on this side. Maybe, I'm gonna give them a couple patterns here. Maybe some squares. And I'll do the same on the other side. A couple of squares. You guys don't have to follow what I'm doing. You can do whatever you want, okay? In fact, I encourage you to just do whatever you want. I'm gonna need a little green on his underside. I'm just gonna do some little dots here. Little dots. And then maybe wrists. All right. What do you guys think? You doing okay on your dragons? Can't wait to see what you guys make. All right, Crawl. Maybe a couple more white patterns on his neck. So he had kind of on his belly, do you see on his belly? It came all the way up his neck. See this? It's yellow all the way up to their necks. So I'm gonna give him some more yellow all the way up to his neck. Oops, that's the wrong color. All the way up to maybe here on both sides. And maybe all the way down his tail too. Crawl likes it spicy. And then maybe I'm gonna take the white. I'm gonna give him a couple of spikes on his neck and along his back and tail. Spiky, spiky. And then his tail, I'm just gonna give him some lines back here. All right, spiky, spiky. Some lines on his tail. Do, 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 do. All right, I think Crawl's done. What do you think? It doesn't look like much yet, but I'm gonna paint him in a few minutes with watercolor after I get Breen done. And we'll see if he becomes more interesting. All right, Crawl. A little bit of white around the eye here. I don't know. Maybe I should have done the white first. Yeah, let's do the white first on this side. We'll do some black on top of it for an eyeball. Now, after we're done with these, if you want, you could put it on a string. You could hang it from your ceiling. You could hang it in a window if you wanted. Or you could just keep them on your desk or on your nightstand. Remember how courageous Tonlu was. And you know what? I'm actually going to give Kroll a smile because he ended up being a pretty nice dragon who flew her all over the world, right? All right, so this one's done. And now I'm going to work on Breen. Okay? All right, here's Breen. Breen is green. And Breen loves pearls. So I'm going to give Breen lots of circles. Maybe white circles. Lots of white circles. I'm going to give Breen lots of white circles, or maybe different color circles, all over his body. Maybe slightly smaller ones. You can change up the size and patterns that you use. Or if you're like Parker, my son, he just likes to color it all one color, which is fine too. It's your choice. They're your dragons. It's hard to decorate with white because you can't always see what you're doing. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Okay, that's a lot of dots. But can you even see them? Probably not. Can you kind of see them? Yeah? Okay. Now what else should we do? What else should we do for Breen? I'm gonna give Breen some yellow also. I'm gonna give him a silver belly. And as we saw before, it goes all the way up to his chin. Runny chin chin. And then all the way down the tail, right? Okay, I'm gonna flip it over and do the other side too. Oil pastels are a little bit messy, but they have a pretty cool effect when you use them with watercolor. There we go, other side. All the way down the tail, up through the belly. Up the neck. Okay. All right, Brain. Our little gem jewel loving dragon. You know, dragons love gems and jewels, and they keep them in their treasuries, right? That's where they keep all of them. And the underside of the wings here. It's starting to get a little messy here because I'm using the paper underneath is starting to get messy, but that's okay. Okay. Now Brain, I'm gonna give Brain, what kind of pattern should I give Brain on his wings? Okay. I'm thinking well, Brain didn't have wings in the actual story. Brain was more like just like a lizard. So I'm just gonna give Brain some more circles on his wings. Because Brain loved the pearls, right? And maybe we'll have to give Brain some extra sparkle. Because Brain was all about the pearls. Okay. I kind of like the idea of doing Brain just in green and silver and white. So I'm going to give Brain some more white details. Let's see what happens when we paint it. Hope you're all still there. Sorry this part's taking so long, but I'm so glad you're here with me today, guys. All right, let's see. Now I'm gonna paint my dragons. Let me first get Brain's eyes here. One eye. Okay. Brain, how are we feeling there, dude? Brain likes it sweet. All right, Brain? Okay, so now I'm gonna paint these guys. Move this aside. Okay. I think Crawl is a little bit more fancy than Brain, but we're gonna jazz Brain up with with some gems. So here we go. I have green here. This is a very simple Crayola watercolor set. Here we go. And I'm just gonna, oh, this is a terrible brush. All right, guys, I'm gonna run downstairs and grab a brush. I'll be right back. Sorry. Oh, wait, I have one here. Oh, I have one from an old lesson. Okay, perfect. There we go. You see how it's resisting? It's popping off of the oil pastels. Can you see it? Showing the pattern underneath. Okay. So we have Brain, the green dragon here. Flip Brain over to the other side. Again, guys, any colors you want. You don't have to do green and red. I just chose to do green and red because of the story that we read. And parents, again, if you need a template, on my profile link tree, I included a template there from somebody else who you're welcome to use. You can use it on a paper plate. You can do it on, ooh yeah, look at that cool. Look at those cool wings. On cardstock, on regular printer paper, whatever you have available. So there's Brain. Brain is painted. Now we're gonna let these guys dry completely. They're gonna be a little soft until they dry and they'll stiffen up again. But there's Breen. I'm gonna put Breen right here to dry. And I'm gonna now paint Crawl. Crawl's gonna be red. Once your dragons are dry, you can go back. You can add glitter. You can add sequin. I have some sticky gems here. Oh yeah, here's Crawl. Looking good, Crawl. Okay. What do you think? Crawl looks pretty awesome, right? See the pattern coming through with those oil pastels? We're gonna let Crawl dry. Okay. I'm gonna do Crawl's wings here and then we're good to let them dry. Now, after I'm done with this, I'm gonna let these guys dry and then I'll put gems on afterwards and I'll post some pictures. But I gotta let them dry, otherwise the gems won't hold on. If you are interested in showing me what you're making today, I would love to see it. And if you're okay sharing it, even better, so that everyone else can see it too. Feel free to send me a message and I will post what you made so we can show the other kids that are doing it too, what you made and all the amazing creativity that you guys have. So here's Crawl's wings, the underside of his wings. He's looking pretty cool. I like him, and I also like how simple Breen is. But I'm gonna jazz Breen up with some jewels and gems and things. So feel free to send me a picture of what you guys are making. I love you all so very much. I will see you next weekend back here on Instagram Live. If you missed any part of our class, it will be on Instagram TV, IGTV in my profile, and also I'll be linking it to YouTube so you can watch it over there. Okay? Bye, everybody.